Hello everyone, welcome back to the live CUBE coverage here in San Francisco, California. The CUBE live coverage, 2 days, day 2 of AWS Summit 2022. AWS Summit New York City is coming up in the summer. We'll be there as well. Events are back. I'm the host, John Furrier of theCUBE. Got a great guest here, Johnny Dallas with Zeet. Here's on theCUBE. We're going to talk about his background, a little trivia here. He was the youngest engineer to ever work at Amazon at the age 17. Had to get escorted into reInvent in Vegas because he was underage with security. All good stories. Now the CEO of a company called Zeet, real DevOps kind of focus, managed service, a lot of cool stuff. Johnny, welcome to theCUBE.
Thanks, John. Great.
So, tell us a story. You were the youngest engineer at AWS.
I was, yes. So I used to work at a company called Bebo. I got started very young. I started working when I was about 14, kind of as a software engineer. And when I was about 16, I graduated out of high school early, working at this company, Bebo still, running all of the DevOps at that company. I went to reInvent in about 2018 to give a talk about some of the DevOps software I wrote at that company. But you know, as many of the listeners are probably familiar with, reInvent happens in a casino. And I was 16, so was not able to actually go into the casino on my own. So I'd have AWS security, as well as casino security, escort me in to give my talk.
Did Andy Jassy, was he aware of this?
You know, that's a great question. I don't know.
I'll have to ask him. Great story. So obviously you started at a young age. I mean, it's so cool to see you jump right in. I mean, you never grew up with the old school that I used to grow up in, loading packaged software, loading it onto the server, deploying it, plugging the cables in. I mean, you just rocking and rolling with DevOps. As you look back now, what's the big generational shift? Because now you got the Z generation coming in, millennials are in the workforce, IT's changing, like no one's putting packaged software on servers.
Yeah, no, I mean the tools keep getting better, right? We keep creating more abstractions that make it easier and easier. When I started doing DevOps, I could go straight into EC2 APIs. I had APIs from the get-go. And you know, my background was I was a software engineer. I never went through like the sysadmin stack. I never had to, like you said, rack servers myself. I was immediately able to scale to, I was managing, I think, 2,500 concurrent servers across every AWS region through software. It was a fundamental shift.
Did you know what an SRE was at that time? You were kind of an SRE on
Yeah,
steroids.
I was basically our first SRE. Was familiar with the phrasing, but really thought of myself as a software engineer who knows cloud APIs, not a SRE.
All right, so let's talk about what's going on now as you look at the landscape today. What's the coolest thing that's going on in your mind in cloud?
Yeah, I think the coolest thing is, you know, we're seeing the next layer of those abstraction tools exist, and that's what we're doing with Zeet is, we've basically gone and we're building an app platform that deploys onto your cloud. So if you're familiar with things like Heroku, where you just click a GitHub repo, we actually make it that easy. You click a GitHub repo and it will deploy on AWS using AWS tools. So,
all right, so this is Zeet, this is the company.
Yes.
How old's the company?
About a year and a half old now.
All right, so explain what it does.
Yeah, so we make it really easy for any software engineer to deploy on AWS. That's not SREs, these are the actual application engineers doing the business logic. Mm-hmm. They don't really want to think about YAML, they don't really want to configure everything super deeply. They want to say, run this API on AWS in the best way possible. We've encoded all the best practices into software, and we set it up for you.
Yeah, so I think the problem you're solving is that there's a lot of wannabe DevOps engineers. And then they realize, oh shit, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
And some people want to do it. They love under the hood, right? People love to have infrastructure, but the average developer needs to actually be as agile and scale. So that seems to be the problem you solve, right?
Yeah, we give way more productivity to each individual engineer. You know.
All right, so let me ask you a question. So let me just say I'm a developer. Oh cool, I built this new app. It's a streaming app or whatever. I'm making it up, CUBE here. But let's just say I deploy it. I need your service. But what happens about when my customers say, hey, what's your SLA? The CDN went down from this, it's flaky. Does Amazon have it? So how do you handle all that SLA reporting that Amazon provides? Because they do a good job with SOC reports all through the console. But as you start getting into DevOps and sell your app, you have customer issues. How do you view that?
Yeah, well, I think you make a great point of, AWS has all this stuff already. AWS has SLAs, AWS has contracts, AWS has a lot of the tools that are expected. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel here. What we do is we help people get to those SLAs more easily. So, hey, this is the AWS SLA as a default. Hey, we'll configure your services. This is what you can expect here. But we can really leverage AWS's reliability of, you don't have to trust us, you have to trust AWS. And trust that the setup is good there.
Do you handle all the recovery or mitigation between identification, say downtime for instance? Oh, the server's not 99% downtime. Oh, it went down for an hour. Say something's going on, and is there a service dashboard? How does it get, what's the remedy? Do you have how does all that work?
Yeah, so we have some built-in remediation. We basically say we're going to do as much as we can to keep your endpoint up 24/7. If it's something in our control, we'll do it. If it's a disk failure, that's on us. If you push bad code, we won't put out that new version until it's working. So we do a lot to make sure that your endpoint stays up, and then alert you if there's a problem that we can't fix. So,
cool.
Hey, AWS has some downtime, this thing's going on, you need to do this action, we'll let you know.
All right, so what do you do for fun?
Yeah, so for fun, a lot of side projects.
What's your side hustle right now you got going on?
It's a lot
playing
of tools.
Playing with serverless?
Yeah, playing with a lot of serverless stuff. I think there's a lot of really cool WASM stuff as well going on right now. I love tools, is the truest answer. I love building something that I can give to somebody else and they're suddenly twice as productive because of it.
That's a good feeling, isn't it?
Oh yeah, there's nothing like it.
So tools versus platforms. You know the expression, too many tools in the tool shed becomes tool sprawl. And then ultimately tools become platforms. What's your view on that? Because if a good tool works and starts to get traction, you need to either add more tools or start building a platform versus tool. What's your view on reaction to that kind of concept debate?
Yeah, it's a good question. We've basically started as like a platform first we've really focused on these developers who don't want to get deep into the DevOps, and so we've done all of the pieces of the stack. So we do CI/CD management, we do container orchestration, we do monitoring. And now we're splitting those up into individual tools so they can be used in conjunction more.
All right, so what are some of the use cases that you see for your service? It's DevOps, basically managed service, DevOps. So it's for people who want a DevOps team. Do clients have a DevOps person? And then one person, two people, what's the requirements to run Zeet?
Yeah, so we've got teams from no DevOps is kind of when they start, and then we've had teams grow up to about 5-10 man DevOps teams. So as more infrastructure people come in, because we're in your cloud, you're able to go in and configure it on top. We can't block you. You want to use some new AWS service, you're welcome to use that alongside the stack that we deploy for you.
How many customers do you have now?
So we've got about 40 companies that are using us for all of their infrastructure, kind of across the board, as well as...
What's the pricing model?
So our pricing model is we charge basically similar to an engineer's salary. So we charge a monthly rate. We have plans at $300 a month, $1,000 a month, and then enterprise plan for
based
more
upon
beyond
the
that.
requirement scale.
Yeah.
So back into the people cost. You must offer discounts, not a fully loaded thing, is it?
Yeah, there's discounts kind of at scale.
And then you pass through the
companies.
Amazon bill?
Yeah, so our customers actually pay for the Amazon bill themselves.
Okay, so they have their own account.
There's no margin on top. You're linking your AWS account in.
Got it.
Which is huge because we are now able to help our customers get better deals with Amazon. We're incentivized on their team to drive your costs down.
And what's your main unit of economics? Software scale?
Yeah, so we think of things as projects. How many services do you have to deploy as that scales up?
Awesome. All right, you're 20 years old now. You can't even drink legally. What are you going to do when you're 30? We're going to be there.
Well, we're making it better and better.
That's the old guy on the cube here, me.
I think we're seeing a big shift of, we've got these major clouds. AWS is obviously the biggest cloud, and it's constantly coming out with new services. But we're starting to see other clouds have built many of the common services. So Kubernetes is a great example. It exists across all the clouds, and we're starting to see new platforms come up on top that allow you to leverage tools from multiple clouds at the same time. Many of our customers actually have AWS as their primary cloud, and they'll have secondary clouds, or they'll pull features from other clouds into AWS through our software. I think I'm very excited by that, and I expect to be working on that when I'm 30.
Awesome. Well, you're going to have a good future. I got to ask you this question because, I was a computer science undergraduate in the 80s, and computer science back then was hardcore, mostly systems, OS stuff, database, compiler. Now there's so much comp sci, right? So. How do you look at the high school, college curriculum, experience / folks who are nerding out on computer science? It's not one or two things. You've got a lot of things. I mean, look at Python, data engineering is emerging as a huge skill. What's it like for college kids now and high school kids? What do you think they should be doing if you had to give advice to your 16-year-old self back a few years ago, now in college? Python's not a great language, but it's super effective for coding, and with data it's really relevant, but you got other language opportunities, you got tools to build, so you got a whole culture of young builders out there. What should people gravitate to, in your opinion, and stay away from? Stay away from? That's
a good question. I think that, first of all, you're very right. The amount of developers is increasing so quickly, and so we see more specialization. That's why we also see these SREs that are different than typical application engineer. You get more specialization in job roles. I think what I'd say to my 16-year-old self is, do projects. I learned most of what I've learned just on the job or online, trying things, playing with different technologies, actually getting stuff out into the world. Way more useful than what you'll learn in kind of a college classroom. I think classroom's great to get a basis, but you need to go out and experiment, actually try things.
You know, I think that's great advice. In fact, I would just say from my experience of doing all the hard stuff, cloud is so great for just saying, okay, I'm done, I'm abandoning the project, move on. Because you know it's not going to work. In the old days, you had to build this data center, I bought all this service, and people hang on to the old project and try to force it out there.
Now you can launch a product in a weekend.
Instant gratification. It ain't working. Or shut it down, and then move on to something new.
Yeah, exactly.
Instantly.
You should be able to do that much more quickly.
So you're saying get those projects and don't be afraid to shut it down. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think it's experiment. You're probably not going to hit it rich on the first one. It's probably not going to be, that idea is the genius idea. So don't be afraid to get rid of things and just try over and over again. It's a number of reps that'll win.
I was commenting online, Elon Musk is going to buy Twitter, that whole Twitter thing, and someone said, hey, I go, look at the product group at Twitter has been so messed up because they actually did get it right on the first time and became such a great product, they could never change it because people would freak out, and the utility of Twitter, I mean, they got to add some things, the edit button, and we all know what they need to add, but the product, it was just like this internal dysfunction. The product team, what do we could work on? Don't change the product. So that you kind of have, there's opportunities out there where you might get the lucky strike right out of the gate.
Yeah.
Right? You don't know.
It's almost a curse too.
Yeah, you're not going to hit
Twitter. You're not going to hit it rich the second time too, so.
Yeah. Johnny Dallas, thanks for coming on theCUBE, really appreciate it. Give a plug for your company. Take a minute to explain what you're working on, what you're looking for, you're hiring, funding, customers. Just give a plug last minute and have the last word.
Yeah, so I'm Johnny Dallas from Zeet. If you need any help with your DevOps, if you're an early startup, you don't have DevOps team, or you're trying to deploy across clouds, check us out, zeet.co. We are actively hiring, so if you are a software engineer excited about tools and cloud, or you're interested in helping getting this message out there, hit me up. Find us on zeet.co.
Yeah. LinkedIn, Twitter handle, GitHub handle?
Yeah, I'm the only Johnny on LinkedIn and GitHub, and _Johnny Dallas _ on Twitter.
All right. Johnny Dallas, the youngest engineer working at Amazon, now 20, working on a great new project. Here on theCUBE, builders are all young, they're growing into the business, they got cloud at their back, it's tailwind. I wish I was 20 again. This is theCUBE, I'm John Furrier, your host, thanks for watching.
Thanks.